Hi, happy Wednesday. So, I wanted to come on and do a short live or a short podcast episode on changing niche. So, many of you have been part of the Single Woman's Empowerment Club for some time. Maybe you were part of the first part of the club where we were talking about limitless success. And then I transitioned to the single woman's coach, which I loved, and I loved helping people with their limiting beliefs around love, their limiting beliefs around relationships. But at the heart of what I'm all about is empowering women to be the best version of themselves, to be the best, the most authentic version of themselves. And I really found, focusing in on single women and creating an environment for single women was amazing and great fun. And it was a really worthwhile year because I learned a lot about myself, and I also learned a lot about women in general and how we perceive love and how we perceive relationships. But it really was never going to be my full purpose. And for those of you who have worked with me, and a lot of you have, most of the women who worked with me came to me for their business. And throughout the year, no matter what women I worked with, we always ended up talking about their business and where they could grow their business, what was going on in their business, the mindset around their business, the growth strategies, sales strategies. And so it turned out that even though I was focusing myself on helping women with their love lives and helping women get to the heart of their problems and clear out limiting beliefs around love and relationships, it always ended up being around business. And I eventually took the hint and decided it's time to change and become a business coach and focus in on helping women create businesses that are both sustainable, enjoyable to work with, and profitable. And that's where I've been really focused for the last 2 or 3 months now. And I suppose I've had enough kicks and hints and nudges and pushes from my own clients to go down the business route. So here we are, we're changing niche and going into business coaching. So for a lot of you, maybe I'm no longer relevant, and that's perfectly fine. I want to just say thank you for supporting me from the very beginning. Thank you for being here with me. There are definitely certain women within the group who are not going to be entrepreneurs and are not interested in being entrepreneurs, and that's perfectly fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. That doesn't mean that you have to leave. You can always stay. You can be still part of this journey. It just means it's going to be different, but there's still going to be content in here that's relevant for you and your job, or relevant for you and your life, because we're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about business. We're also going to be talking about career. We had Bex Galligan on the podcast talking about how to get more out of your career. There's going to be fitness talks. There's going to be a range of talks that support women in general. But we are going to gear it up more towards the business side of things. So, more when you see me, it's going to be about business. And the guests on the podcast themselves are going to be so varied, and there's quite a wide range of them. And we'll be talking about things like healing, Reiki, and so on. So I am still excited. I'm always going to be excited about my own business, but I'm really excited to help work with women in their businesses. And I was really thinking about my own self, and how I ended up going down this road. And it's so often that women end up being, or all people really, we end up being directed down a particular road by someone, and we trust and believe that they know best because they're the expert. Sometimes the experts that we follow haven't got a breeze, and so you have to take time to step back and reassess. And I suppose that's what I did. I stepped back in October and reassessed, was I working with the right people? And was the right person really working in my best interest? And the answer was probably not. And as much as I loved working with them, it just wasn't the right way to go. And I knew myself at that point that every single woman I'd worked with was coming to me for business coaching. So it was time to change. It was time to take the step and change and move on. So if you are someone and you're in a business, you have a business and you're not feeling that it's matching your soul purpose, you don't feel like it's really working for you, or you just don't feel inspired in it, I want you to know that it's absolutely okay to change your niche. It's okay to change your niche at any point in time. It does not matter if you're new in business, if you're 20 years in business, if you are 2 years from retiring. If you want to change niche, go for it. Like, give yourself that permission to go for it. There's nothing to stop you or tie you in to your niche specifically. And just if that doesn't give you any sort of solace, you can set up another business. So if you don't know this about me, I actually have three businesses. I have a digital marketing agency, which I absolutely love. I've had it for 4 years. It's been really successful. In fact, I won Ireland's Best Young Entrepreneur from my digital marketing business within the first 9 months of being in business itself. So, I mean, that in itself was a huge milestone for me. I also have a corporate wellness business where I focus on yoga and meditation and breath work for small businesses around Ireland, specifically just Irish businesses. So I don't go to the UK, I don't teach in other countries. It's just for small Irish businesses. And it's for businesses that couldn't afford, say, a large EAP program. We give them something more bespoke and tailored for companies with about 10 people in them. So you can have multiple businesses. That is totally fine. Give yourself permission for it if that's what you want to do. My coaching business is my pride and joy. It is the business that I've wanted to have for years. It's the business that I've wanted to set up to help women in. And if you're wondering why I need a third business, I guess for me, when I think about what my overall life purpose is, what I want to help women with, what I really want to do is create a level of gender equality that keeps women safe. And the way that we can do that is through political change and cultural change and societal change. Unfortunately, I'm not a politician, or fortunately, as the case may be, I'm not a politician. I'm not making laws. So, where can I help with that gender equality best? Is by helping women create businesses that are sustainable, that give them long term success as well as short term success. We want them up and off the ground quickly, but also profit so that they have life freedom, career freedom, financial freedom. The more women who have financial freedom and career freedom and equality, the safer we are. You know, we're not accepting abusive relationships, we're not accepting situations that put us at risk. And yes, this doesn't solve violence against women, but it's one step towards a safer society for all women. The more women that we have in power, the more equality we have for all women. The more women who have success in their businesses, the more success for all women. So it is a collective leveling up that I would love to see. And I think the more women that we have creating businesses, whether they're small businesses, coaching businesses, online yoga teachers, online crypto tycoons, or whatever, property tycoons, whatever, the more women we have who are successful in life, the safer it is for all women collectively. And that is where my purpose comes from. And I'm really proud of that. And that's something that I'm going to stand with forevermore because it's something I've stood with for so long already. So that is where I want to focus myself, is helping women create those sustainable businesses. So I do want to talk to the woman who is trying to figure out her niche, or trying to figure out, you know, what she could do in a business or set up a business, or how does she go about it. And I think a lot of women get stuck on, well, what do I focus on? What am I going to niche into? How do I create a business? And you know, and it can be overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming, especially in those initial stages, because everybody goes, find a niche and then target your niche. Find a niche and then just like really zone in on it. And I think that in itself can be really overwhelming, because you can niche down in multiple different ways. You don't have to niche down in a very sort of like a limiting way. And and I think a lot of times we focus on that super limiting way of niching down, and not a very mindful way for that specific person. So if you are someone who's looking to niche, or you're thinking about your niche, or you're reassessing your niche, here's a couple of questions that I would advise that you ask yourself. Firstly, what do you love to talk about? Like, what could you talk about endlessly, you know, and not get any fatigue, and you could have a lot of passion in it, and you could have a lot of excitement in it. So what is one or two topics that you could just talk about like all day, every day, no problems? like for me, I could talk about business all day. I could talk about small businesses all day. I could talk about women in business all day. I can talk about yoga all day. All day. No problem talking about yoga all day. So, what are the topics that you could talk about all day long? And then, what are you interested in? Out of those topics, what are you interested in learning about more? What are you interested in picking up 10 books on and reading about, like, constantly and consistently, or doing courses on? Like, or even look at the courses that you've done and what have they got in common? What is the common thread in everything that you read or learn or have an interest in? And start to really focus in on that. If you have something that you love learning about, like I love learning about yoga, but I also love learning about business, and I also love learning about human design. I look at how I can bring those things together. And so maybe they're separate businesses, or maybe they're all the one. And for me, yoga is separate to my business coaching because I want to keep my yoga in a very authentic way. I want to keep my business coaching to be both spiritual but also have a little bit of a sergeant in it. Like, how to get shit done is very much the way I focus myself. And anyone who works with me will tell you I am 50% spiritual, 50% drill sergeant. I am like, where's the scores on the door? What have you done this week? Pick up your piece of paper and show me exactly what you've done. And if I don't see it, I'm like, where is it? Why hasn't it been done? Like, tell me, give me your excuses, and let's work on those excuses so they don't impact you next week. So I am very much like, not a teacher. I'm not going to be your mammy. I'm not going to stand over you, but I'm like, I put the responsibility where it sits, and it sits in you not in me, but I want to hold you accountable because that's what I'm here for. So what do you love to talk about all day? That is the first question I would ask myself. And I would then ask myself, what am I interested in? What do I love learning about? And when I've got those things nutted down, what is the problem that you love to solve? What is the one problem that you really, really, really want to solve for all women or all people or whatever your preferred target is? What is the one problem you would love to solve? Is it, that you want to help women find love? Is that you? Is that what you want to do? Or you want to be a handstand yoga teacher? You want to help everyone do handstands? Or perhaps you want to help everyone do amazing art. Maybe you want to be the most amazing knitting teacher. Like, what is it what do you want to solve? What is the problem that you would love to help with? And it's really interesting when you look around at what's available and all the different businesses that are out there. Look at the problem that they're solving and go, is that for me? Is that something I want to solve? Or is that something that I'm interested in buying? Look at all of those areas. And then who do you want to solve it for? I specifically want to work with women. That is, who I want to work with. I also work with men because, in fairness, I do love a bit of the old male energy around me from time to time. I get enough of it in the gym, but I also like to get a little bit at home with my coaching. So I'm not opposed to working with men, but most of my clients, I would say like 95% of my clients are female or women, and they're within a specific age range, and it's just worked out that way. It's not that I targeted only certain ages. So who do you want to solve the problem for? And you don't actually have to get nitty gritty on this one. A lot of coaches will go, what is their age? What are they interested in? What are they focused on? What do they eat for breakfast? You don't have to go all in unless you are a very particular type of product. For services, you can keep it a bit looser. You have a little bit more freedom because you can sort of weave your way into working with different people. There is truth in the more niche you have, the more you talk to that one specific person. But you can decide on what niche means to you. Perhaps you niche into a specific tool, like a specific system, like human design, or maybe you are all about email list building, or maybe you are all about how to use Tinder effectively. And I actually see someone doing that, and I actually think that she's an amazing Tinder coach, but she is really helping people find love on Tinder in a very authentic way. So look at what what tools you like using, and maybe that's your niche. Maybe you do want to work with a specific type of person with certain characteristics and certain flaws and certain problems, and that's perfectly fine. Go that direction. Maybe you want to work with just a type of personality, and that's fine. You just need to be clear from a marketing point of view of what it is that you're trying to solve, because that's what you're going to be talking about. You're going to be educating people around that problem. Like, for example, I want to help women in businesses. Naturally enough, I'm going to talk about how to niche into your business or how to change niche. So, that is the problem I'm solving. I'm helping that niching issue. What is the problem that you want to solve, and how can you talk about it? So, again, if you are thinking about changing niche like I did, and I can tell you, changing niche is a very daunting experience if you haven't got your head in the right space for it. You have to have that mindset there that you're taking the step for the right reason. So I would really like you to go back and ask yourself, what do you want to talk about? What do you love to talk about? What could you talk about all day long? What are you interested in? What are you interested in learning? What are you interested in diving into? What books are you interested in reading? What courses do you like doing? What are you interested in learning? What is the problem that you want to solve, and who do you want to solve it for? And when you've got those questions answered, that is your niche. That is where you're focused on. There are other ways of finding out your niche. Like women who work with me, I generally do their human design for them and look at where they're open, like what are their open energy centers, because you can rent out those energy centers for other people to learn and define themselves within. And that might sound really woo woo, but like I said, I'm half spirituality, half sergeant. So I like to bring that spirituality into it. And a lot of the women I work with have that spirituality in their natural interest. They're interested in astrology. Maybe they're interested in meditating. Maybe they're yogic. You don't, I don't sort of like pigeon it out. But also, if somebody's not into that kind of side of things, I'm like, don't worry about it. But you can look at your human design and see where you would like to focus on. Like, okay, you've got an open G center. Maybe you can help people with self love, with their general love, with their identity. Maybe you've got an open splenic center, so you're more centered towards wellness, intuition. Maybe you'd be a great yoga teacher, a personal trainer, a psychotherapist. There's a lot of little places that you can look in within your own natural energies that will point you in the direction of what you could do for a business, or for a niche, for coaching, for whatever it is that you want to get into. So there you go. You have the reason I changed my niche. For those of you who've been with me from the very beginning, I have so much love for you. I have so much gratitude. I think every business owner, small, medium, and large, like has a lot of love for the people who are in the background supporting and cheering them on. And I have to say that's been you from the very beginning. And I'm really, really glad that you've been here. And I'm really glad that you've been part of this support, because I couldn't have done it without you, firstly, and I wouldn't have done it without you either. So so I do have a lot of love for anyone who's been here from the beginning, who's been here from when I was working with single women as a single women's coach, and who are with me now as I transition into business coaching and helping women create sustainable businesses. If you've got any questions, if there's anything that you'd like to know, if you are interested in setting up a business, please let me know. And of course, if you are catching this on the podcast, whether it's on Spotify or Apple, please leave a review firstly. But also feel free to join the Startup Podcast group on Facebook, where I'm going to be going live a lot more often, and I'm going to be answering actual questions about business, because I get an awful lot of them, and I've collected like Excel spreadsheets, lists of them. So I want to get into how to answer all of those questions, from sales, mindset, to actual business structure, systems that work. Like, I am a very systematized person. I need a certain process and routine for my business to grow. I'm going to be talking through a lot of that stuff here. So don't be afraid to join the podcast group, because it will be the place where I will most certainly be answering those questions first before they come up onto the podcast. But also, that's where I'm going to be offering a lot of my support on a daily basis. So I am once again incredibly grateful. I have so much love for you all, and I really hope that this is the beginning of a new journey of all of us together, and even more beautiful humans who are coming in to set up the business of their dreams. So that's it for me. I've got lots of love for you, and I will see you very, very